Well, hello, 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 and welcome to ZBrush Live. This is Kermaco mech and character design. And as usual, if you guys could please let me know if you can hear me and see my screen okay. And I just need, it looks like there's already somebody on YouTube. Hey, Don, how's it going? And it looks like some folks on Twitch as well. If you could let me know, Don, or somebody on Twitch, if you can hear me and see my screen, I'll go ahead and get started. In the meantime, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and if you have questions, you can ask in the chat during the stream. I'll be more than happy to try and answer them for you to the best of my abilities, of course. And also, if you have questions when you're watching this after the fact, you can leave your question in the comments and hopefully somebody will get back to you. I try to get on there as much as I can, but hopefully somebody will answer your question. But it's always good to be on live because then you can ask me in person and it's an opportune time to do it. And I can even demonstrate the way to solve your problem if I can have the chance to. Okay, so I'm still waiting for somebody to chime in to let me know if you can hear me okay and see my screen. And once we get that, we can go ahead and get started. I kind of had that on just to test something, but that was kind of funny. All right, let's see. Still, I'm not getting anything from the chat. Please, please, please. If you can, let me know that you can hear me okay. I just want to make sure I don't like go off and then, midway figure out that there's some audio or video problems or anything of the sort. All right, adjusting my pen display here. And still, wow. All right. There's a lot of you on here. I don't know if you guys are away from your keyboard or maybe you're watching this on a TV. I don't know. All right. I think maybe this is a test. Maybe like you guys are saying, well, what if we don't respond? Like, will he continue or will he just kind of stay there and not do anything? So, yeah. All right. So we're working on this guy still. And I did a little bit of work on it. I actually, at Monsterpalooza, I did some sculpting on the skull. It was kind of an opportune thing to do at Monsterpalooza, so broke symmetry there, put in some extra lines and whatnot, put in some texturing in the eyes, and maybe worked a little bit on the teeth. And I also added some detailing to this arm, to these arm pieces, which I probably will do more of today. Worked on the belt a bit, which I will also do a little bit of today. I added these buckles, but I didn't like them, so that's what we were looking at before. I'm actually making a buckle, and I'm going to be using this kind of as a tutorial on how to, do something in ZBrush and, sculpturally. So this is sculpturally done, and then I'll show you guys how to make it more hard surface looking. So I'm still waiting for somebody to let me know that you can hear me okay. I see my needles jumping on my app here, but I'm kind of worried at this point that you guys cannot hear me. I've got my microphone set up and everything, so if you guys could just in the chat let me know. Sounds good. And display is good, we're good to go. And I know that there is a delay, so I don't mind waiting a few minutes. It gives me a chance to take a swig of tea. Right, going once, going twice. Wow. 100 plus people watching, still nobody chiming in. So anybody in the chat, just let me know that you can hear me and see me okay. That would be awesome. And if you can't, that would be good to know as well, so I can change things if needed. All right, so I'm just going to kind of ramble on until somebody says something. And so this is week 18 I'm working on this, and every stream has been about 2 hours. So I've spent maybe another 2 or 3, maybe another 5, 6 hours on this after the fact, just doing some changes. Okay, August is on X. Wow, I didn't even know I was broadcasting on X. So hey, August, thank you very much for letting me know. I really appreciate it. And if somebody from YouTube and from Twitch can chime in, that would be great as well. And yeah, wow, I didn't even know I was streaming on X, artist formerly known as Twitter. So yeah, all right. Well, I mean, if you can hear me on X, I think I'm just going to go ahead and get started. But if somebody can on YouTube can let me know, that would be great. Dawn, all eyes are on you, since you did mention that you were first on the chat. So do your civic duty and let me know. All right, so here I have, I mean, this is like 3 parts, right? It's just a really simple thing that I did. It's all started out as a Dynamesh, just very pushing and pulling, just kind of getting this rough shape. And right now it sees, it's a very kind of rough display. I'm going to make the background a little bit lighter here, so you can see this better. So let's see, background, and let's just pick maybe a lighter gray, something like that. Here we go. Okay, so now what I want to do here is I want to make this work better. Now, one of the things I'm also doing is I'm using symmetry, but I'm using all X, Y, and Z symmetry. So I'm using all 3 symmetries, not radial because it's not round, but I'm just doing it this way. So here I'm going to go ahead and choose my H polish, and I want to make sure I'm on this tool. Now H polish, gives you a little bit of that flatness. Something I also do with H polish, and this is something that I was recently reminded of, is to do the preserve edge at 100, and that will give me kind of more of an edge. But you can see these edges are a bit rounded here, and I need to make them straighter. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to jump off of symmetry and put the gizmo in the center, and go ahead and make this a little bit wider, and you'll see why I'm doing this in a minute. Another thing that's important here is that with industrial design and with kind of my design aesthetic or design training, this has to somehow work, right? So there has to be some sort of function in this that is visible in what I'm doing. So since these are buckles and they are going to go on the guy's kind of belts that go on his leg, there has to be some sort of release mechanism. So here, this front button could be a release mechanism, but that could kind of be dangerous because like if something hits it from the front, the belt could fall off. So I'm thinking of doing some sort of a design here in these brackets or here. I haven't really decided yet. So the buckle could go like this, or it could go like that. Right? So this is a kind of a simple thing that I'm doing here, but I will definitely be, it's definitely something that is of interest to a lot of people. A lot of people have asked me, hey, does ZBrush work with a hard surface? And my answer, of course, is yes. And I want to kind of show how I would use this for a hard surface. So what I'm doing here is I'm making these things a little bit wider like that. Right, but that's really messing up the area here. So what I'm going to do is mask the top as well, and then just bring these down. Right. So notice here that I don't have symmetry on, so it is bringing it down from both sides, which is not really what I want. Right. So I need to mask the bottom as well. So maybe I need to turn symmetry back on before I do that. So that way I just do it once. Here we go. And then just pull this down. So now I basically, those pieces are going all the way in, which is good. And then I'll just do that. And there is a little bit of a seam in between here. And I will go to the move tool here and and just choose like a brush size about that. And so just kind of whittle that down a bit. And I'm not really caring about like these kind of little artifacts that it's creating, because I'm going to fix those later. Okay, so I still don't have anybody from YouTube or from Twitch saying you can hear me okay. So if you just joined on YouTube or Twitch and you can hear me and see my screen okay, please do let me know. Right. So, okay, so we just still have August here saying he can see me and hear me okay. All right, so now that I raised this, I did it for a reason. That's because I want to kind of flatten these edges. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to mask, and I'm just going to choose my mask here. And this mask that I have is basically just a normal mask, but I've done a few things to it to make it so that the edge is sharp. And you can't really see that. If I turn the coloring of it off, you can see it now. So basically that just creates these harsher edges for the mask. It's a good way to establish the mask, and then I can just soften it. But let me just solo this piece out just to make sure I'm masking, you know, all the way through. And then once I'm done with that, I usually, by holding Control and Alt down, I sharpen that mask to get the sharp line. Maybe cut into it a little bit here, just a tad on this kind of curvature area, and just do it again. And again, a good idea to get it to work better is first you soften the mask and then you harden it. Again, that's Alt to soften, and then Alt and Control to kind of get it to be sharper. Okay, and I'm just kind of creating some sort of an edge here so that, you know, I don't want to mess with this area down here. Maybe, you know, this is kind of going back and forth. Maybe I should just zoom in a little bit, which will make my life a lot easier. Now, one of the things here is that I want to make my brush size smaller, but I can't just because this is a very small piece in the scale of the image. So what you can do if you need to do that, and ZModeler will kind of revert that, but here under draw size, there's a thing that says dynamic. If you double click on that, it kind of grays it out. So now I can actually make my brush size a lot smaller, which will help me with this area a lot more. So kind of the struggles that I was having before are no longer there. And all I'm doing is just masking this area because I don't want it to be affected. And again, sharpening that mask. And the sharpen mask is also available in the menu, but it's a lot faster to just use the Control. And there's a little bit of wobbliness over here. So the way to get rid of that wobbliness, again, is just to soften that mask and then make it hard again. And then that basically, you know, makes the harder edges, and we're good to go with that piece right there. Now, there is a little bit of a kind of a area here that's kind of hanging out. And it's only on this side, which is really odd. So what I'm going to do here is just for kicks, just to make sure everything is going to work correctly, I'm going to mirror and weld this, and I'm going to mirror and weld it in the X direction. So mirror and weld, let's see. Oh, it has multiple subdivision levels. I don't really need the lower ones. I'm going to delete them for now. And I'm just going to go ahead and mirror and weld it. And that kind of solved that problem, and probably it's a good idea because it basically has the same geometry on both sides. Okay, YouTube, you can hear me. Thank you very much, Taylor. And stream is fine, Car. Stortbecker, thank you very much as well. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate it. Okay, all right, so back to this, right? So now I'm basically going to invert that mask and bring this part in just a little bit like that. Okay, so that's good. And then I'm just going to invert the mask again. And by the way I'm inverting the mask is just tapping on the screen, and it goes back and forth between one and the other. Now I'll probably kind of soften this edge over here, but I'm not going to do it until I do the other thing I'm going to do. So here I'm going to make these surfaces a lot kind of harsher, and the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use the clip curve and just do a clip of a curve. And I can do this straight across, which might work. I'll try it. Okay, so straight across, that already looks a lot like a hard edge model versus a kind of a sculpted model. So there's that. Or I can also do it on each side. So let's say I do it at a little bit of an incline like this. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, I think that looks a little bit better, so that's good. And I'm just going to use Shift here to smooth this edge a little bit. And now I'm just going to go ahead and Shift click on the mask. just to soften it, and then just hit this edge a little bit with smooth. And here we go. Oops, didn't mean to dynamesh it just yet. Okay, I think this is good enough. And let's clear that mask and then do this. So now this looks a little bit more hard edge than before, which is kind of what I was going for. And then this inside part, and again, this is going to be a pretty small part, doesn't matter. I could probably completely skip this step, but I thought it would be a good kind of thing to do. And I kind of wanted to create a buckle like this because I want to use it in other projects. So I'll probably create a kit bash of this, maybe put it up on Gumroad with some buckles and things that I will need to use. And I'll make it available to the community as well. All right, so just kind of creating this little bit of a crease over here just to kind of highlight it. Again, doesn't have to be too much. And if I want this inside part to kind of have a harder edge, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to make my brush size smaller, use Control just to highlight this part right here like that. All right, let's just see in solo mode what that is. There's a little bit of an extra lip over here. And again, this is happening on all sides. So X, Y, and Z symmetry. Let me smooth this out over here and just hit invert that mask and just make sure I've got it where I want it to be. All right, so now I'm just going to affect that part. And I want that part to be straighter. So I'm just going to go over here and just do that to it. And that makes it harsher too. Maybe lift this up just a smidge so I have a little bit more geometry to work with, and then just do that to it. There we go. All right, so now you can see that it looks a lot more mechanical, a lot more like it's some mechanical piece. And if I bring everything back, it looks kind of like it's some sort of manufactured piece. Just a little bit of adjustments here with Damien's standard brush just to get it to look like that. Now the only part that remains is the part that's inside. Okay, so let's do the same thing with that, where I just need to mask that part. And again, you can do this with polygroups probably, or there probably is a better way to do it. Again, I'm just going to invert that mask later. So first I'm just going to do it this way. Let me zoom in. Make sure I get the surfaces that I want. And then again, invert the mask. And basically I'm just using Control and Control Alt to do this. Okay, and there it goes. And then this inside part, I don't really want to mess with it too much. So I'm just going to unmask it. Because when I invert the mask, that is going to be masked. But I don't really, I just kind of want to be about this much. So a lot of folks ask me if you need kind of traditional painting skills or whatever to do these things, and you kind of do because you're painting here, right? And even though you're painting a mask, you're still painting, you're still controlling kind of where you are applying your brush. So there's that. Now I can't really see the inside of this, so I'm just going to eyeball it. Again, I'm just going to use Clip Curve, and if I want to, I can give this a little bit of a curvature, but in this case, I think I'll be fine. So I'm just going to try it this way. Okay, that's actually not too bad. I think it needs to be a little bit higher, maybe there. That actually, it's about the same. I think this will do. All right, and then just use the smoothing here to just smooth out these edges that are more harsh. And again, this is about 400 K polys. It's a lot, but probably should have done this outer part before, but it's still good enough. And this inner part isn't really going to show, so I think it just works fine. Okay, and there it is. Okay, so this looks a little bit more hard surface. And if I bring this back, that's good. So let's do the rest of this buckle. It's still a little bit of a wobble over here, but I was kind of expecting that because I'm going to fix this part. Just add a little sharper edge. And then for this inside part, I'm just going to push it in like this. I'm just going to add a little bit of a mask like that, invert it. go. Yep, like that. And then just put the gizmo over here. And oops. Did it move the gizmo? It did. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, and just push that in a bit. Just a tiny bit like that. And it'll create this interesting feature and break it up a bit. And then just use Damien Standard to kind of maybe emphasize this edge over here. And you know, I could another thing I could do here, which would probably work better, is if I make my draw size a little bit bigger with Damien Standard, and you get these nice creases that work really well. That way I don't have to go in and add and subtract. Okay, so that's all good. There's a little bit of a, you see this kind of, I want this to be more of a straight line, so I can also use Damien Standard to do it. Now with the big brush size, it kind of, you know, doesn't work as well. So I'm just going to do this smaller brush size, and I can turn lazy mouse on, but since I have a pen display, it kind of works out really good. Okay, so here we go. So this is kind of looking a lot more hard surface now, this part. The only other area here is the angle this way. So I'm just going to turn it again. Again, I've got four-sided symmetry on, so I know whatever I do on one side is going to be replicated on the others, and that's good. So now I've got this sharp edge over here, and then I'm just going to break this off a little bit at an angle like that. Let's see how that works. That's actually not bad as well. Make this kind of harsher. Something like this. All right. Now I have a bit of a issue here where this line and this line are not very parallel, and I'm going to do something that makes CAD people cry because they can't do this. I'm going to go ahead and just use the move tool with AccuCurve and choose a brush size like that's about this size over here. By the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, but something happened while I was doing this, and I should note it just because it's important, is that the dynamic here on draw size or brush size came back, right? And it did because I went to the ZModeler brush, and the ZModeler brush needs that to be on. So as soon as you go to the ZModeler brush, I had a dialog box which I closed kind of fast, but as soon as I go to the ZModeler brush, that happens. Right, so here I'm just kind of sharpening up these edges. Again, I just need to do it on one side, and it happens on all the others. Probably this one would be a better one, so I can kind of get that parallel, oops, with this edge right here. So I can just kind of get it parallel, move it over using the space bar, let go, and there we have that. And then last but not least, I just need to do this part right here. Like that. Okay, so now I have what I need from this side, more or less. I could use this to be a little bit flatter, so I'm going to try and see if I can do that without having to mask and do what I did before. Again, this is just the edge. It doesn't really matter as much, but it'll be cool if I can do it. So again, let's go to the move tool with AccuCurve on and see if I can get that to work. And I'm also going to try maybe seeing if this little bit of an extension here works. And again, this is kind of cool because again, with CAD, you know, you're basically, you know, you have a drawing or whatever, and you're going off of that. But here I'm designing in 3D. With CAD, it's kind of hard to design while you are doing the work, especially with NURBS. It's kind of a difficult thing to do. But here, you can do it this way. All right, so that's cool. And then, oops. Just gonna go to, and I'm switching here. I'm using hotkeys to switch between my brushes. And I'm just going to make a little bit more of an indentation over here as well. And then choose the H polish to give this inside part polish. Again, I need my brush size to be smaller, so double clicking on that. Dynamic here, turns it off. smaller draw size. I keep saying brush size, but it's actually draw size. I should use the correct terminology. Okay, there it is. And just straighten this whole thing out like this. All right, so you guys can see that I went from kind of a wobbly sculptural thing to something that looks a little bit more hard surface. And here I just need to straighten this out a bit. Here we go. And there we go. All right, so that piece is done. Now let's work with this one right here. Same story. This one's not as complex. Again, I've got, I think, symmetry on all sides, so just straighten it out that way. And then just kind of maybe fix these pieces. I'm a big fan of some of the design, early Oakley designs, so you probably can see a little bit of the influence of those kind of buckles and stuff in here. But I'm not looking at any reference. This is all kind of being done live. All right. So my strategy is that this mechanism in the center and these two things are what drive this piece to click on and off, and you can detach it from both sides. So you can detach it from the left side or the right side, it doesn't matter. So that makes it a lot more kind of flexible. But I still have to figure out how the mechanism of the release works. So you know, basically what happens is that the center piece comes out and these two pieces on the side go in. And when that happens, it basically, the two side pieces, one of the two comes out. And that's the other design thing that I need to figure out, is how do I figure out whether the right one or the left one comes out. And I'm thinking of putting in a mechanism on the top here. So I guess I'm thinking more or less that this is going to be the side. These two are going to be the side, and that's going to be the top. All right, now to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this piece in the middle. So I'm just going to use Control. Let's see if that works. Is it masked? Oh, that has multiple subdivision levels too. Not a problem. We'll delete the lower subdivision levels and just pull out two of these and put them over here. Now, I don't know why it's not doing it on the bottom as well. Maybe this doesn't work, but it's fine. I can just duplicate it. But for now, I'm just going to do this. And while I'm at it, I guess it's a good time to turn off symmetry for these guys. And I'm just going to work with one side, delete the other. So I'm just going to delete hidden. So I just did selection there and delete the hidden part, and then just make this a little bit wider and place it over here. Make this thinner like that. Right, so I'm just going to do, maybe there's one on this side like this, and if I press that, then this side will release, the left side will release, and then whoa, what is going on? Oh, I know what happened. When I deleted half, I deleted these bottom ones too, which is not what I intended on doing, so not a problem. I'm just gonna split the masked points. I'll just split the unmasked points, that's fine, and then just go to these guys. Yep, and now I'll delete it. Yeah, because I want these two pieces to still be here. I kind of lost what I did there, but it's not that big of a deal. I can do it over again. So I just need to kind of move this in and place it over here, something like that. Maybe not that wide. Let's put this in the center. Maybe not that wide. Maybe something like this. Right, so it'll have just two releases, one release on the left and one release on the right. And there we have it. Something like that. And I kind of like this indentation because it will kind of, you know, if you were to do this without looking at it, it would be easy to kind of feel your way into doing this release. The only thing I'm worried about is that, well, I guess you could just, if you did it from the top and the bottom, on one side it would work just fine. All right, so now again, I'm just going to do a little bit of sculpting here, and I'm going to use the inflate tool just to deflate the center of it. Okay, and I think I'm going to turn symmetry on at this point. And I'm also going to duplicate it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to mirror and weld this on the X side and also on the Y side. Okay, so mirror and weld. Oh, I didn't delete the, here we go. All right, so mirror and weld. So now I've got 4 of them. And then if I turn symmetry on, now whatever I do is going to happen on all sides. And I want to just indent this thing just a tiny bit, like so. And I don't really need this much resolution. This is about 75K. I'm just going to re-dynamesh this. I think that, is it dynameshed? Let's dynamesh it. Whoa. Okay, let's dynamesh it at maybe about that. Still. Wow. Let's go to about there. All right, that's good. Right, I'm just kind of, you know, lowering the resolution. I don't really need it that much. And again, it's kind of nice to be working on this on all 4 sides. And I'm just going to, you know, do a thing where, you know, it's kind of like that. And, you know, the person can kind of feel their way into which side they want to push in. And then if they, you know, press their left side, the left side will come out. If they press the right side will come out. So then they have the option of doing either one. And that looks good as well. All right, so now I can just add a little bit of resolution to it. All right, that's good. And now let's kind of, again, make it hard surface. In this case, it's a separate piece, so I can do transparency and just do this to it. And same thing this way. And same thing this way. And I kind of like the idea of it being parallel to the top, but being indented just a bit, just something like that. Of course, I lost that indentation on the inside, but I can always add that back. Let's turn transparency off. All right, let's see. Somebody, Drunk Astronaut 1. Dogs aren't allowed to operate MRI machines, but cats can. Oh my God. All right, dad jokes galore. All right, what I'm going to do here is I want to straighten out this inside part, but if I do it like this, it's going to mess me up. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn symmetry off, and I'm just going to mask the one side and just do it on this side like that. All right, and then I'm just going to go ahead and mirror and weld it. Oops. Okay, this has one. Oh yeah, it does. All right, so let's delete the lower subdivision levels. Let's clear the mask and mirror and weld. All right. Oh. Let's do mirror. Mirror and weld. Okay, that's good. I think that is good enough. And I'm just going to do that indentation again, just because I lost it with this last thing that I did. I'm just going to make it a little bit going inwards, a little bit like that. And it'll be cool to kind of make these things, you know, to actually physically kind of make these things. I mean, you can 3D print them and try them out. So here I'm just going to go back to, I would have to design the internals of it, but it shouldn't be that hard to do. Now, what I'm going to do here is create a little bit of a lip for it on the top here and on the sides. Maybe go in on the sides. It's going to be hard to do that. Draw size, so I need to make it a little bit smaller. And just create, I don't know if I've got enough resolution, just create a little bit of an indentation for it. And I can just double the subdivision level of it. And again, it introduced a little bit of wobble, but easily fixable just by using the handy dandy clip curve function. And I'll just go like this as well. All right, here we go. And then just use Damien Standard to just add that little bit of a area over there. I don't even know if I need it, but it adds to it. I also want to kind of accentuate this edge, make it harsher. Again, I'm just using Demon Standard just on the edge itself. And there it is. Okay, all right, so now I've got the buckle pieces and I've got everything pretty much done. So now I think I kind of want to do a little bit more polishing over here. So let's get that to separate out. And let's do one of these guys over here. There we go. All right. So now we've got this buckle. I don't really need to UV this thing just because it's probably I'm gonna apply materials to it. I'm happy with most of it except this part right here. So I've got to figure out a way to make this part a little bit better. And I think I know what to do here. Let's see if I just fill this in like that and H polish it. Sometimes it's good to like not be working on something big and give yourself like a smaller project, like something like this, where it could be more, you know, you could kind of practice the skills of working on something that's hard surface. And that's a little bit smaller than kind of a whole character with everything on it. So, you know, just do a buckle or something like this, and that will definitely, like a watch piece or just a industrial design kind of piece. Okay, and I'm just going to finish this off with a little bit of H polish on top here. All right, okay, so we are done. Again, this is all replicated on all four sides, so cool, cool, cool. So now that I have this, I need to actually figure out a way to make it work. Now, this isn't going to be a game piece, but it's still 424,000 polygons. I don't know if I need that many polygons for it. So I'm just going to duplicate it, and I'm going to zero mesh the duplicate at half to see what I could get. Right. It's amazing. Every time I do these things, I get more and more people watching live. Thank you for watching live. I appreciate it when you do. It makes these go a lot better. Right, so Zero Mesher was done, and let's see what it got. All right, so I went to about half the number of polygons, but I could probably take it down one more, a little bit less as well. And I can see that the shape is still kind of holding, even though I've got about maybe a quarter of the number of polygons that I had. It is still respecting the symmetry, so all good. And then I can probably delete these inside parts, but again, I don't really care. This is good enough, I think, and it's going to be pretty small. So that's good for that piece, and I don't really need the previous one, but I'm going to copy and paste it into my builder tool just to have it. I'll just put it over here. So just in case I need it in the future or whatever, it's always good to kind of have a copy of it, which is what I did. And now we're going to do the exact same thing to these little buttons, which are about 37,000 polygons right now. And I'm going to zero mesh them at half. And I probably can go quite a bit lower on these guys and still be okay with it. I think this is good. Do I have symmetry on here? I don't. So Control Z out a couple of times and turn symmetry on. And yeah, 8,000 is still too much. I'm going to zero mesh it one more time. It's starting to kind of show the edges. I think this is good enough, so I'll just leave it at that. That's good. I'm not duplicating that or anything like that. And then these guys are about 7,000 polygons. I think that's good enough as well. Just leave it at that. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the whole thing. Did I get rid of that previous piece? I did not. I'm just going to delete it. Okay, and here we are. And let me see if this kept the color of it. Nope, that's the color of this one. Let's do that. That's fine. And then this one, I kind of want it to be this other color as well. So let's just go ahead and pick this color. Fill object with just RGB on. All right, so I just have a bit of a contrast on it. And yeah, so that looks good. I think what I'm going to do for this one is just add a third color just to kind of indicate that I've got 3 different pieces here. So fill object on that guy and fill object on this guy. So these are kind of, you know, part of the same mechanism, these 2 things in this middle part. So basically when this gets pressed in, what happens is that this middle part comes out and then this side one goes in if it's left, and same on the other side. All right, so I've got this cool little buckle over here. What I'm going to do now is I am going to make a bunch of these. So what I'm going to do is merge them together. So to do that, I'm just going to put them in a folder. So here, new folder. Buckle, and then just make sure all 4 pieces are in there. What? Did it add all these pieces into it? I didn't want to do that. All right, so that's in, that's in. These don't need to be in there, so I'll take them out. And this doesn't need to be in there either. Take that out. Well, I put everything underneath it. Okay, so easy fix. I'm just going to go in here and, well, this is harness and buckle. So I'm just going to go in here and say delete the folder, not everything else. I'm just going to create a new folder just with this piece. And then put these pieces in there. Yeah, I don't know. I probably inadvertently did something I didn't want to do. Okay, so now the buckle itself is all in a folder. And what I'm going to do here is I need to have 4 of these. So let's bring the guy back. All right, so go to V1. There he is. And, you know, I just need 4 to replace these 4 that are over here. So I'm going to take this one, these buckles here, and just delete them. I don't need them anymore. Okay. And that new buckle that I made is going to go in this area. All right, so let's go ahead and turn the visibility on it. And press W. And so here, I'm just going to go ahead and say, I just want to transpose this set. Okay, so now I'm just moving. Whoa. Let's turn that symmetry off at this point. And I'm just moving that buckle to the front. And notice I'm just, what the heck? Oh, I don't have visibility on this. Let's move that back to where it was. Let's turn visibility on all the different pieces of the buckle. All right, so it should be fine. Okay, and just move that piece. All right, so I'm just going to move it over and put it where I want it to go. And it's funny, just for a little piece like this, but something that's cool design like this makes a huge difference. Instead of just putting kind of the run-of-the-mill buckle or something like that, it's cool to just have something that is more or less a cool design and also unique. All right, so I'm just going to put it here for now and turn the pizza boxes off for a minute. Okay, so now notice I'm just moving this tool, which is not what I want it to do. Let's move this to the center. And I'm going to, okay, what do I need to do? I need to rotate it this way. Okay. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and say transpose set. Move this up. And move it over to here. All right, let's see what that looks like. That's good, more or less. Just a little bit more adjusting, not much more left. Now this kind of pizza box thing makes the other part transparent, but it makes it a little bit difficult to see exactly what the placement is. but the mere fact that I can do this is cool enough. And I don't know if I want to move this down a little bit more, maybe rotate it just a smidge. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Almost there. One more adjustment and I'm done. And just in just a smidge like that. Okay, cool. Oh, no. Did I inadvertently wrote? I did. All right, not a problem. One more adjustment. Nope. Too much. Just about there. All right. Let's see here. Okay, that's good. Turn pizza boxes off. And I think that's kind of good for now. Now another thing I could also do is I could combine these together, which is another thing I can do. And then separate it out. All right, so that's one way of doing it in the folder. Another way of doing it is to, I'm just going to duplicate that folder. And to duplicate a folder, you can do it with, the it's the Subtool Master plugin. Subtool, it's alphabetical. Here we go, Subtool Master. And then you can just copy the folder. And then this turns into paste folder. And you can just go here, let's say, and just paste that folder. I should have... okay, so, yeah, sorry. This one. And paste. Let me just save this first because we did a lot of work. Good idea to save it. How does the ZBrush instance work? Okay, so 2 questions here. I'll answer both of them as soon as this thing is done saving. And all right, so I mean, this is what I'm making, by the way. Red Saber Alter M. I'm just basically making this kind of character, and I was making the buckle, this kind of belt buckle for him. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and do something else, which is kind of going, and I'll show you how the instancing works. Okay, so another thing I could also do here is I could go back to this, and let's see if I can undo the, okay, I'm going to undo this all the way to right before I moved it. And right, I should have used the instance to do this in the first place, but not a problem. I can probably okay, so there it is, and then I'm going to do that with all the other pieces as well. Just get them back to where they were. And unfortunately, there's not a, I don't know if I could do the pizza boxes to do this or not. Let me do solo or transparent here to see if it's in the right place. And all I need to do here is just pop it back to where it was. Same with these guys. So I'm just kind of playing back the history. Again, undo is really nice the way it works in ZBrush because it works on that tool by tool level. So I'm just doing it for every single other tool. And I'll show you guys how to do the other way of doing this. Okay, just back to where it is. And last but not least, this one right here. All right, and then turn transparency off. Let me go to this view here where I just had, oh, this guy over here needs one more undo step to move it back to where it needs to go, and then turn the visibility on this one, and here we go. Okay, turn the color on. Okay, so we're back to where we were. So the other way to do this is to basically, I'm going to, instead of duplicating the folder, I'm just going to duplicate the pieces. Duplicate, 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 and duplicate as well. All right, and then I'm just going to pop this one out. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, and let's see. Oh, adding these back in. All right, so 1, 2, I've got this one and this one. Let's get that one out. Okay, so I've got all the duplicate pieces. I'm just taking one of each of these things and putting it outside because I need to merge them together. So it's 5 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's one, there's 2 of it, it's this one. Okay, so now I'm just going to close this folder. I don't really want to see it. I'll even hide it. And then I'll just take this piece up top here. And then I think this is kind of the bigger piece, and then just bring this one down. All right, so there we go. And now what I'm going to do here is just make sure these are all, they have one subdivision level. They do. And I'm just going to merge them together. So I'm just going to go to merge, and I can do merge visible as well, but I'm just going to do merge down just for kicks. Always okay, because I'm going to do it a few more times. Merge down, merge down, merge down. Okay, so now I've got this as one piece, right? And all right, so now the instancing, I think it was under, I haven't used this for a while, so I'm kind of have to figure it back out, but it shouldn't be that hard to do. And I think what you can do is you can create a, I think I have it in my UI, but I don't have all my UI because I lower my resolution to 1080p for the stream. So I think it's under geometry and is it stager? Yeah, so you basically can set a home stage and a target stage. I think you can do array mesh to create instances of it. So if I wanted to do instances, for example, I could just go to array mesh and turn it on. And let's say I'm going to do 4 of them, right? And then I can just kind of choose my, the placement of them. So this is one way of instancing, and that is basically to use array mesh to create an array of them. So that's one way of doing it, and I'm going to turn array mesh off because that's not what I'm going to do. Another way to do it, and this is what I should have done in the first place, is go in here and say, this is my home stage for this guy. So if I need to work on it some more, I can just say this is my home stage, and then I can move it. Turn symmetry off, I don't need it anymore. I can move it to where I want it to go. So let's bring the guy back, right? And V1, and then I can move it to where I want this to go. It'll be a lot easier to, as you can see here, this is easier than using the pizza boxes. And the pizza boxes, or the moving them together, it's good if I still want to keep the pieces individually separate, but I can always separate them out later. And then I can just move this to where I want it to go, right? And then once I am done with this, then I can, if I want, so I, let's say this is where it's going to be. This is where it's going to live, so to speak, on this belt right here. And I think maybe it needs to go up a little bit higher. Okay, so now I can switch back. I can go back down here to geometry, and I can say this is going to be the target stage, right? So I can switch stage. Now it's back in the middle, and then I can switch stage to put it there. And then I think interpolate between the stages creates stages in between, which I don't really want to do. And I think that's basically it. So Shocky Sparks, yep, that's right. So that's something that I definitely do a lot. So that's kind of how instancing works. You can either use array mesh or you can use nano mesh. Or another thing you can also do, which I will also do here, just as a third way of doing this, is I can go ahead and I can pick this object. So this one right here, right, the first one. I'm going to set it back to the home stage just for kicks for now. So go back to geometry and go back to, where were you? Stager. And I'm going to switch the stage back to its home stage for this next thing that I'm going to do. And I am going to, just kind of leave that there, press W, and make sure that I've got my gizmo in the center. And I'm going to go ahead and with this create a nano insert mesh brush. Okay, so just go to brush mode here, and I can just go ahead and go down below here, create insert mesh brush, new, and now I have an insert mesh brush, which is this buckle, right? And what I can do is I can just go back to my model. Turn the visibility off on this guy. Where is it? Okay, it's on solo mode, that's why. Okay, so I don't need to be on here anymore. I can just click on this piece right here. And the problem with this piece right now is that it's got 4 subdivision levels, but I can always freeze those subdivision levels, which is what I'm going to do. Okay, so now they're frozen. And then I can just go ahead and use the insert mesh brush to drop one of these on there. Now what you want to do here is you want these all to be the same size. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and drag this out and hold Control. That's too small, so I need to make my draw size a little bit bigger. And I'm going to make my draw size, I'm going to type in a number. Let's try 80. And as I'm drawing, I just hold Control, and it locks it in at this size. And this is pretty much the size I want this to be, right? So at 80, there's 1, right? And I can just place that here. And then I can just go to this other side. Same thing. Click, drag, hold Control. There's one there. Press W. Move that to where I want it to go. So basically that's creating an instance of this in every one of these things. And if I want to change the brush itself, I can either go and regenerate a new insert mesh brush, or what I can also do is there's a way to edit the brush itself. So this was like a sculptural thing, I could edit it. So these are kind of some of the ways that you can do instancing in ZBrush. There's usually a lot of ways of doing the same thing, but you have to just kind of figure out which one works best for your workflow. Okay, so one of the things I should have done here, which I didn't do, is I should have separated this out, but I can't do that now. So here, what I can do is I can just go ahead and say split, and split, well, it's going to split everything separately. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to undo all the way back to where this was, and then say split mask points. So now this is separated out, and then just draw my other one over on this side over here. Again, hold Control down. That's weird. My draw size changed. I don't know if it's relative or not, but let's try 100. Let's see if that works. Nope. It should be 80. It should work. I don't know why it didn't. Oh. This is where you want dynamic on. That's the problem. Okay. Yeah, so let's go to 7. I'm probably going to have to put one of these on the other side as well, which is fine. Okay, here it is. And where is that going? Where did the other one go? Okay, and then let's go to this one over here. By the way, there's a trick. I should show you guys that trick. I think that's the better way to do this. What if I get rid of this one completely? So I'm just going to get rid of this piece right here. I hope I didn't make a big mistake. No, I didn't. Okay. So another way to do this, which works out really nice, is you pick a part that doesn't have subdivision levels, like this one right here, right? So this piece is up here somewhere, and I'll solo it out so you can see it. It's that piece right there, and this has nothing to do with these pieces, and these pieces have multiple subdivision levels, so I'm going to keep those subdivision levels, and I'm just going to draw one of these out over here, and I have symmetry on. So it's just going to draw both of them. And I'm holding control. 7 seems to be the magic size. And I'm just do that. Same thing over here. Again, hold control, let go. And then that did all of them, right? So now I'm just going to turn symmetry off. And then I've got these 4 pieces, and I can just individually mask, you know, each one individually and do adjust where they go. So this one's the first one. I'm going to do that one first. I should have masked this one here and unmask this one. All right, let's place this where it needs to go. That's good. And then I'm going to do the same for this one. Oh. Unmask, and then just, by the way, if instead of inverting the mask, you can just do the you can do the do it this way as well. Now if I press W, the gizmo is going to be on this side, right? So if I wanted to go flip to the other side, I can try and do it with activate symmetry. Let's see if that works. Nope. So the other way to do it is you just hit control and just tap, you know, in an area where you know it's going to be central to it, and then just move it around. Again, I don't really need to be precise with this. I just need it to kind of sit where the belt is. So just move it in like so. And again, this is not associated with actually inadvertently drawing new ones of these, which is not what I want to do. Okay, so these are still attached to that piece up top. And hopefully that's still staying masked. It might be a good idea to separate them out. Let me do that while I'm thinking about it. Solo, let me select this part and just say split mask points. Okay, so now I'm just working on these ones. Okay, so if you just pick any piece in your model that has one subdivision level, you can draw these out in other areas. Okay, and I kind of really like the shape of these now that I have them a lot more than what I had before. And let me just go to a different brush here so I don't know. Leo. Let's mask this. Do I have symmetry on? I don't. Okay, cool, cool, cool. And then just move this in, put it in place. And again, I can either use the gizmo to do it, or in this case, I'm cheating a little bit and just using these kind of corner pieces just to get it, and this outside circle just to get it where I want it to go. All right, so there's that, those two, and then last but not least, I'm going to do these ones. So click on that, mask, oops, and then mask these ones, rotate, move it to where I want it to go, and just place it. Right, so this is kind of a cool little exercise that I did here just to demonstrate for you how you can do instancing. And these are the kinds of things that if you're watching this live, you can ask questions. And this was a good way to kind of, good timing for that exact same question. So hopefully the person that asked this, Mukesh, I guess, hopefully this answers your question for you. All right, so then last but not least, I just have to do this one. So again, mask and invert. So I just select that one. I'll click just on that one area, which is flat, and then just move this into where it needs to go. All right, so now I've got these buckles, and they are looking a lot more interesting to me. One thing that I'm just going to undo back is move this further down to kind of match where the other one is. And also I don't want it to really mess with that little angle that I have on the belt. That looks kind of cool. All right, there and there. How are we doing on time? I kind of want to get to doing a little bit of texturing today if I can. I'm still having a little bit of issues that I haven't figured out with that plugin that I'm going to use to texture this with. So, but I will try and use it a little bit today, maybe on the clothing, to see what I can get. All right, so there's that. Oop. All right. So that's kind of one way of doing the instancing, just by using that insert mesh brush. And so those buckles are done. They look nice and symmetric, which is good. One thing I want to do here is with the centerpiece, I want to add some thickness to it. So let me solo it out. Okay, it does have thickness already. Does it have polygroups? It does. Nice. Okay, so what I want to do here is I want to, let's see if this is going to be kind of funny, but I'm going to try and just do it with inflate and see if I can get away with that. Yep, that works. Okay, I'm going to solo it out, just refine some of these edges. I just want it to kind of not be indented and be outdented. So let's see what that looks like. That's a little bit better. Here we go. Okay, and then another thing I might want to do is I might want to put one of those buckles up here too. So now I've got this brush. I can just save it. I can use it anytime I want. I'm going to turn symmetry off. Go to the center here and maybe pop one of these guys right over here. Now the risk is to kind of make a different size one, but you don't want to do that. You want to have it be the same size. Okay, so that kind of looks cool right there. And I'm just going to press it in a little bit. And there it is. Right? Okay, so now there is another buckle for that. And yeah, so here we go. And I could add a couple more down here. So let's do that as well. So again, I'm with just that there. I can just go over here and just add one more. This way I should turn symmetry on. So I just do one on the other side as well, because I am going to need one on the other side. There it is. Oh, did that work? Yeah, but somehow it went inside for some reason. Oh, no. Oh, you know what I did is I actually inadvertently resized it negatively. Not a problem. Let's see here. Okay, so we don't have any. Right, I'm just going to go ahead and draw it out. Hold Control. There it is. Yep. Okay. And then just press that in like so. Okay, so oops. Have two on the outside. All right, so you know that kind of creates a nice little pattern of the same thing. Kind of gives you an idea that they all work together. I don't know if that's a good place for that, but I can always move it. To over here. All right. Okay, so I know, you know, I've been getting a lot of kind of requests to do more hard surface kind of demonstrations with ZBrush. So there's that. Oh, what happened to the one on top? Whoa, what is all this over here? We didn't want that to move. I forgot that that was masked, not masked. Okay, so not a problem. This is easy enough to do. Over again. There. Okay, and these are symmetrical, so that works out good. And that kind of, I like the little silhouette that that adds, kind of a little choppy edge over there. All right, so with that done, I'm going to go ahead and save this. As a middle level. And then I'm going to try and use that plugin to see if I can get the, I think this is pretty much most of the modeling done. I think I want to do just a little bit more work on the shoes, but unless I have time today, unless the thing doesn't work, okay, punching ball. You're asking about the costume, which is great because that's where we're going next. Oh, it's not All right, so you're asking about this, right? You're asking about how I'm getting this diamond texture. And that is not based on UVs, right? It is based on something completely different. So I'm going to turn it off so you can kind of see. And if you want to see exactly how this happened, I did it in the previous episodes. So before I do that, I should also mention that I've got 3 different suits here. Let me just jump to this view over here and turn the harness off. I'm going to turn Sol off for a minute here. So I just want to see the suit itself. So I have 3 different suits. I've got this one, which has the diamond pattern on it. And then I've got this one, which has these dots on it, right? So it has this dot pattern. And then I've got a third one, which has this kind of noise pattern on it. Okay, so this is using something called Maxon noise, which Maxon introduced in the latest version of ZBrush. And that basically gives you this kind of cool pattern. But this is just noise, right? So I can turn it off. It's not geometry. And if I render in Redshift in here, it will render great. So here, I'll just turn it off. It's under Surface. Oh, did I apply it? I did apply it, didn't I? Maybe I did apply it. Okay, so now it's geometry. But it was initially noise. Just surface noise. But I did apply it, and this is 3 million polygons and 6 subdivision levels. So this is kind of what the model looks like. And it does have UVs, and it does have polygroups, right? So this is at subdivision level 1. This is at subdivision level 6. So I can bake normals or displacement maps from this. So this is one of them. And I'll get to the one you were asking about, which is the first one, right? Which was the diamonds. And the way these diamonds work, again, this is at subdivision level 1. Notice that these will be bigger diamonds, right? Subdivision level 2, there'll be smaller diamonds. Subdivision level 3, there'll be smaller diamonds, etc. And that's using a feature called micropoly. And the way that works is if you go to geometry here and you go to dynamic subdiv, right? So dynamic subdivision is usually used to add smooth layers without actually adding them or adding thickness to it or whatever. But I have all those down at 0. What I'm doing is I'm using micropoly. And when you turn micropoly on, you can choose one of these patterns. And these are all geometry, right? These are all geometry that's tileable. And you can use any one of these. So like if I want to use this pattern, for example, now I've got like, if I turn polyframe off, I've got like a chainmail kind of thing happening, right? And then if I want to turn this other pattern on, let's say, I don't know, how about this one? Now I've got a whole other type of pattern going on, right? So this is actual geometry that it's generating. So I'll go back to the one I had, which is this one, which creates these diamonds. And the reason why this is changing every time I go up and down in subdivision level is because it's applying it to every single polygon. So now if I go to subdivision level 4, you'll see that these are a lot smaller. So I've kind of found the sweet spot to be maybe 2, especially if I'm looking at the character from here. But that adds some jaggies. So 3 is kind of the sweet spot. So 3 is good. Okay, so what I want to do here is I'm just going to duplicate that suit. So I'm just going to create a copy of it. And with this one, I'm actually going to go to the dynamic subdiv, and I'm going to apply it to the mesh. Now you're going to see that the number of active points is going to jump up because all this is going to be added as geometry. So once I click on apply, now it becomes 1.126 million polygons, okay? It's still got UVs, I'm pretty sure. Let's make sure they're still there. Some more UV. It's going to take a little bit of time since it's kind of high resolution. Yeah, so I have a noise-based one, and I also have geometry-based one, and I think I just did something really bad here, which is try to do a morph UV on something that is 1.126 million polygons. It will happen, but it will take a little bit of time. I can hear the fan just go off on my PC, and I wonder if there's a way I can just escape from here. Nope. So let's let it do it. I might have to restart ZBrush. but let's see if it does do it. I don't know if you guys can hear my fan. It just completely like went bonkers. If it's using the GPU or the CPU. I'm going to go to Task Manager here. To the side. Oh, the fan is slowing down, which is a good sign. And it looks like it is definitely eating up a lot of memory, but it will do it. It's using up about 23% of my CPU, which means more than that. And yeah, still eating up less memory than my browser window. Okay, so did that escape? No, I just got this. I should not have done that. All right, I can't escape. I can't do anything. I still, okay, so now it's using 42% of my processor. Yeah, it is a lot of information to create. Oh, okay. I did save right before, so I think I'm just going to, well, yeah. I've got another one of these that popped up. Yeah, it's a lot of geometry. I think it's just gonna, it's not gonna, you know, I don't know if it's gonna come back. All right, let's just end the process. That was not a good idea. I should have just baked that as, you know, I should have just baked it as a texture. Okay, not a problem. User error. So I will just restart. All right, here we go. I just need to check something here real quick. No, I don't want to do that. It's going to complain again. No problem at all. And I just need to resize ZBrush to fit the screen. So if you guys don't mind waiting a couple of seconds, I'll be back to where I was very quickly. Right, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and I don't need to do it this way. I'll go ahead and open. No. And let's do this one. All right, it'll take a couple of minutes to load. Good thing I saved right before I did this. Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's definitely a lot of geometry. So I'll show you how you can kind of mitigate that problem. So let's say you want that same pattern, but you don't want all that geometry. There's a way to do it. All right, so it's loading the model, and I kind of will create a lighter version of this file too as I'm cleaning it up. Right, let's go to actual. Let me do something real quick here. No document double, draw that out. Okay, and let me just change my background color here back to a lighter color, something like that. Okay, and I'm just going to do one more thing here. Here we go. Okay, so we're good. Everything is there. The buckles we worked on are all good. Everything is good. Let's go back to the suit here, solo it out. Okay, so this is kind of what I want, but I don't want all that geometry. So what I will do is I'll go in here and I will duplicate this. Okay. And I'll go down to a subdivision level that's good enough. Like, let's say, I mean, the same subdivision level is actually not bad. I could even go up one more. But with this model, with this duplicate, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn micropoly off. So I'm going to go to dynamic subdiv here, not dynamesh, dynamic subdiv, and turn that off, right? So now it's just basically geometry. I'll bring up the poly groups, polyframe on it. So that's at subdivision level 4, 3. I think, you know, I could go, let's see, This is 225,000 polygons. That's not too bad. Okay, so I'm just going to go down here and delete the lower. Actually, I could just leave it. I could leave it even like this. It doesn't matter, right? And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go over to this one, okay, and turn polyframe off. This is good. Oh, no, that's not the one I want. This is the one I want. Okay, the one that has the diamonds, okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this one more time just for kicks. And with this one, I'm going to go ahead and apply, right? So I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to go to Dynamic Subdiv again, and I'm going to apply this to it, okay? So now it is the 1.12 million polys or whatever. And I don't really care at this point because all I want to do is, okay, let's just make sure there's nothing else showing up here in this level. And there's that buckle again. Don't want it, see it, so I'm going to turn that off. All right, so I've got nothing else showing except the only two things I want to have showing are this one of them which has the diamonds, and the other one which basically does not, right? Which is this one. So this is 225,000 polygons. It's not that bad, and I can UV this one. I can do the UV thing on it and it'll be fine. So here, if I go to UV map and say morph UV, it didn't, go nuts on me, so we're good. Okay. Just want to check one thing here. There is some weirdness going on with the UVs a little bit that I don't get. So what I'm going to do here is just for kicks. Look at the UVs one more time here. And there's some weird thing that's disappearing over here. Like, I don't know if there's, what is that? Is there an internal part to this? Let me see here. All right, so what I'm going to do, just kind of to play it safe, I'm going to go to Z plugin here, UV Master. Where are you? It's to UV Master. And I'm going to go ahead and use the existing seams and, okay, at the lowest subdivision level, of course. There we go. And I'm just going to unwrap it one more time, just so. I don't know if I added geometry to this or deleted geometry. I did something to it that messed up the UVs. Yeah, I do have a lot of plugins. All right. Okay. This is going to take a few minutes to do, but it shouldn't be too bad. All right, it did it. And so let's see what we get. Wow, now it created all these little pieces, which I'm not really happy about. There seems to be some other geometry in here that is funky. All right, let's do a check mesh and fix mesh. Just make sure like there aren't any weird. Okay, doesn't seem like there are. All right, so let me do another thing here and flatten this. Oh, yeah, all right. Let's me do the morph UV one more time, and I'm going to kind of try and see what's going on. I'm going to turn off use existing seams here, and I'm just going to unwrap it this way, which should go a lot faster, which it did. And let's go ahead and see what we got. Okay, good. That's what I want. All right. So now that I have that, I'm going to go back up in subdivision levels to 4. I'm at 225,000 polygons again. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on the other one, which is the one with the diamonds, which is, where are you? Diamond 1. And so this is the one. Let's just, I'm kind of confused as which one's which. Okay, this is the one with the diamonds. And this one is at, okay, that's good. All right, so what I want is I want this pattern, but I want it on the other suit. So I'm just going to project it on there. So I'm just going to go to this one right here that doesn't have the pattern. And then I'm just going to go down here to project and say project all. I don't care about the color, just the geometry. Okay, and so now I've got that same pattern on here. And it's actually not too bad. But if I want it even to be better, I can divide this one more time. Again, I've got my UVs, and I'm going to do one more project. And now it'll be a little bit closer to what I had before. Okay, so I've got about 100,000 polygons, but I've got that pattern kind of projected on. So there it is, right? Okay, so now I want to color this thing. So I'm going to use ZTexturizer to do it. And I'm not, I should drop a quick save on this just for kicks. Because that plugin, I'm kind of not very comfortable with it yet. I still have some questions that I've got this email that I've started to the author that I will be sending, but I still have some questions on it. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a lot of texturing today, but I just wanted to kind of see how I can work with this cloth because it's got leather and a whole bunch of other things in it that I can use. All right. Yeah, I do have a lot of plugins. I usually on ArtStation, I usually pick up something that looks interesting. I don't end up using all of them, but I do pick up the plugins and test them out. All right, so one of the things I want to do here is I see the pattern, but it's not as punchy as I want it to be. So I'm going to use the deformation here of, I'm going to go ahead and use the contrast deformation just to kind of increase a little bit of that. You can see here that I'm getting a little bit more of the thing showing up. Not too much, but enough, okay? And now what I want to do is launch the ZTexturizer. All right, here goes. We're kind of going into uncharted territory here, ZTexturizer. And this plugin is really, really interesting. All right, so we'll use the advanced UI for it. So now that drops me out of my custom UI into its own UI, which is fine. And then we'll just go into the library here. And let's see, cloth. Right, so what do we got here? We got this one that looks leather. This one kind of looks really interesting. This one too. All these different leathers. We can change the color, but I'm just looking at one that I like the wear and tear on. And I don't want something that's just too worn. I want something that kind of is less worn. Let's go ahead and look at other ones here. I've got cloth. I wonder if flesh would be interesting. No, there's some really cool, gory, flesh-looking things here. No. All right, so let's go to cloth here. Let's pick one. Let's try, I don't know, this one. I kind of like this one. All right, I'm going to go with this one. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and add this one. Okay, oh, I should have just gotten it. Escape, escape. Let's do it one more time. This one, let's go with this one, right? Okay, and let's get it. And what we're going to do is we're going to just do all these options, and I want to just auto-compile it and continue. And I just want to create a new material for this specific one. Now here I got to choose what type of shape that I have, and it's more a curved shape. Let's go with that. And now we just kind of sit here and let this plugin do its thing. And it does take a little bit of time, but it's doing a lot of work, right? So we're just going to wait here. And it's going to create all these layers for me automatically. And it is using the quad shader functionality in ZBrush. And you can export all these layers out and redo them in Unreal or whatever app you're in. I'll probably export them into Keyshot. We'll see how it goes. All right, we're getting a little bit of free preview there. And there it is. All right, done. Bam. And of course I can go in and paint this further and whatnot, but here it is. Like it's all already done. And now if I go to my viewport, turn everything back on here and get off of solo, you can see here that I've got a really cool pattern happening. And if I don't like this brownish color, which I probably won't want to have that brownish color, I can make some changes. And now I got to remember how I did that. I think it's under settings. And where was it? Was it under painting? Now I got to remember exactly where. Okay, so colorize is on. I think that turns it off and on. And I think there's got to figure out where shading. Yeah, it's under shading. Okay, here we go. Right, so there's 4 shaders on here, and I think shader 2 is what determines the color. And I'm going to go ahead and choose, like for the inside part here, maybe I'm going to choose a different color. Let's go with kind of a bluish, kind of a, or maybe something lighter, kind of an astronaut-y type of color here. Go darker too. Let's see what like a darker color would look like. Not as punchy. So this is the diffuse color I'm messing with, you know. So let's just choose something like this. All right, so I'm kind of going with, let's see, I'm going with kind of a greenish bluish color, lighter, maybe kind of in this area of the spectrum. Okay, so for specular and ambient, I'm just going to leave them be. That's one of the shaders. That's shader 2. Shader 3, let's see what the diffuse of that does. Okay, that's kind of the main color. Again, let's just go with where we want. That's changing the color of everything, which is really not what I want, but whatever. And I don't remember what this was. Was it black? No. And I'm just going to solo this so I don't really see the rest of everything because I kind of want to just work with the suit itself. Okay, so if I want this to be that different, maybe something like this. And this is kind of the more kind of worn out parts. Okay, and then what's this one? This is the specular of it, right? So let's just pump that up all the way to white. And ambient lighting, I'm just going to leave that be. And there's a little bit of reflectivity here, and this is a reflection map. I'm not really going to worry about that. Okay, there's this one. And I think this is the red spots, and I don't really need the red spots to be red. Maybe it is not the red spots. Where, I can't, maybe, is this the first one? Yeah, okay. So this one, I kind of want it to be, I want it to be worn, but not too dirty, right? So maybe darker for this one, but not too dark. Maybe like something like that. And these are maybe oil spots or something like that for the suit. Okay, so there it is. So that's one option, right? And then I can just kind of start playing around with this a little bit more. So it kind of creates this. I mean, I could paint this from scratch, or I could just kind of do this, which works out really good. All right, so now I don't know why it's changing the other colors as well, because the other pieces I didn't really, is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. So S3, I don't know if I should just leave this one be. No. I think this is maybe what the base color is of it. See, that's the kind of thing that I need to really kind of find out more about. And this plugin just came out, so there isn't that much documentation on it. There's a couple of videos. I'm sure they'll do more. And also, maybe I should need to hide this one underneath it. Okay. Right, so, you know, this is one option. I can play around. Okay, so if I don't like that, I can go in here and just say, okay, well, what if I try something like an orange jumpsuit? Right, so I think, am I on the correct one? I am. I should be on the correct one here. Okay, this one I don't want to see. Okay, so there's that. And then what about this color? Let's see, yellowish orange. I Again, I'm just going to solo it out so the rest of it doesn't really mess with me. This is too saturated, maybe less saturated, something like this. Okay. Quality compared to baked micropoly polycount is worth compared to. Yeah, I mean, reconstructing the subdiv NUV, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if I, again, it all depends on how close I'm going to look at the guy. I mean, I kind of get the gesture of what I had with the kind of the triangle pattern. But if I want to get it to be even more precise, I could probably do it. I could probably get it to be more exactly like the thing that I had before. But I think this is good enough. It kind of looks like some woolly type of texture. I'm not too worried about that. Okay, so I'm just going to choose kind of a lighter orangey, maybe a little bit more red, not green. I think subtlety is really kind of the key here. And maybe reduce the specular to something different. And ambient, does that even matter? Okay, S4, and I think this is the kind of the rusty areas. Again, it's one of these things where I need to really understand what these are doing, and maybe make this a little bit lighter like that. Okay, so now I've got this, and I think there's a way that you can go in here, and I think that's in the mixer, where ZT mixer, where you can choose kind of the fill range. Tiling, and you can choose like if you want the cavity and AO and all that stuff to kind of happen. You can offset, kind of not, again, I'm new to this, so I need to understand what all these do, and I will over time. Thank you, Punching Well, I appreciate that. Okay, so fill range. Okay, the mixer I think mixes between them. And then I think there's, the strength here, is that what it is? Again, I'm just kind of, yeah, this is the strength of each shader, right? And and then you can also paint this, so you can bake them. And I think there's a way, yeah, painting is up here. You can just go in and paint fill with certain colors and all that stuff. But again, I need to kind of learn all these things. I just got this plugin like not too long ago. I'm still figuring it out. And let's just see if the lighting here makes a difference. Nope. Oh, here we go. Yeah, that kind of is cool. So you can kind of adjust the lighting here, so it's not as, you can add rim light to 40, why not? I mean, this just in the ZBrush viewport, this isn't even using Redshift or whatever, just as a kind of just a render here. It looks pretty neat. You can add a glow to it and whatnot. Yeah, there's the lighting. So you can do a lot with this right in ZBrush itself. So that's kind of what I want to do with all of these pieces eventually to get this model to be what I want it to be. All right, so I've got another 20 minutes, but it's been kind of a rough week. So I think I'm going to end my stream a little bit early today, unfortunately. So, but this kind of gives you an idea of kind of the texturing process. And once I get my questions answered, I will definitely texture this whole model using this technique. And then once I'm done with it, the next thing to do is to take it into Character Creator and pose it in a kind of an interesting pose. And then we'll just do a few renders, maybe create like a really simplistic diorama for it, and then just do some good render shots. But yeah, so this is kind of a really cool way of texturing in ZBrush, and I'm hoping that whoever made this, the person that made this plugin, kind of continues to enhance it. I think it has a lot of potential, and it's one of these things that I wish ZBrush had built in. But one of the things I used to do is take the models out into Substance Painter, which did some great effects like this as well, but definitely not as fast as this. All right, the name of the plugin is ZTexturizer. It's right here, and let me put a link to it in the browser window, so I'll find it for you guys. And while I'm doing that, I also should talk about a few things here. If you want to see my work, you can follow me on my Instagram. And here is kind of this model in different iterations. Here I did kind of a quick non-photorealistic render in ZBrush. This was done using Redshift. Same model, kind of not fully fleshed out yet. It's still in development. This is done in ZBrush as well. It's just kind of the creature from Scavenger's Reign. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but best thing to do is to follow me on Instagram if you want to see my works. And then here I've got a link tree that links you to all of my other links. I have a tutorial on Gnome and Workshop. I've got two actually. One of them is working with scanned models, and the other one is designing a mech. This designing a mech one is the one you need to follow if you want to see kind of my workflow from the beginning to the end. I also have a website with my works, Kermaco.com, if you want to see kind of some of the stuff that I do. I also have some stuff in the blog, which I should put another thing here. I was trying out AI when it first came out. I'm not as interested or excited about it anymore. But this if you go past this AI stuff, there's a lot of other modeling cool stuff in the blog, so check that out. And I also have a Gumroad where you can get a IMM brush, an insert multi-mesh brush with primitives in ZBrush, and I've got a free one, and then that has 17 pieces, and then I've got another one that has 36 that has some extra pieces that has a little bit of a charge to it. And you can also get my UI colors if you want. Those are all on my Gumroad. And I guess I should look up a ZTexturizer here. And there it is. He's got a Gumroad, and he also has it on ArtStation, I think. Yep. So here we go. And I'm hoping he's going to have a new video on it, but this kind of shows you some samples of the types of things you can do. And here he's just using two of his things. And I mean, he's got this model looking pretty rad. He's got skin stuff as well. So I'll do a quick plug for him because I think this is like the coolest capability that you can get in ZBrush, just inside of the app itself. Okay, and it's it is for a price, but I think for what you get, it's not bad. Okay, so it's ZTexturizer, and here's the link. I'll put that in the chat so you guys can see it. It'd be great to support this guy so he continues to make more of this kind of stuff. And with that, well, I mean, yes, but it is not like $5 or $10, but it's as you can see, it's a pretty intense plugin. It has a lot of capabilities. So I think to be able to do this kind of stuff right in ZBrush, it's not that bad. But anyway, I thought it was worth it, and hopefully, if it is something that's going to reduce the amount of time you spend doing your what are these things over here, and if this is going to save you time texturing, I think it's well worth it. Definitely, will save you time just by if you click one button, it generates the texture for you. And you can output the maps. It'll save you a day or 2 days or whatever. depending on how much you're charging, you can take on other clients or whatever. To me, it was worth it. All right. So with that, I will thank you all for tuning in live. I think even with me finishing early, I'm almost, I think I'm just going to be 10 minutes early. But hopefully this has been useful to you, and I will hang on for a few more minutes to see if you have questions on anything so far. And we will pick this up again not next Friday, but the Friday after next. And hopefully by then, I will have figured out the texturing, and we can just go ahead and texture it. Maybe I'll do some of the work beforehand as well. I can't wait till this thing is textured and done. And then the next thing to do would be to pose it, and then we'll be done with this project and we can start on another one. Okay, so with that, okay, it doesn't seem like there's questions coming, but there's a bit of a delay, so I'll wait, and then we'll sign off after that. Do I know if ZBrush will make the floating windows like noises, etc., resizable and movable? The floating windows like noises. I don't know what you mean by that, Punching Ball. Can you elaborate some more? Floating windows like noises. Yeah, just let me. Oh, surface noise, open window. All right, let's see what you mean by that. Okay, I'm going to see if I can exit out of this. That's the other thing that kind of seems to be interesting in this, is that the exit part of it kind of, well, let me try restarting it first. Yes. And I wonder if that's going to keep the texture. It did. Okay, and then I just want to exit out. Yes, I want to close it. Do you want to set the settings default? Yes. All right, so let's see if this works. I think it does a save, so I'm just going to let it do its thing. And if it crashes, it's fine. I mean, I wasn't very happy with that texture I picked for the suit anyway. I'll redo it. This render actually kind of looks good. Maybe I should do a screen grab of it afterwards. I think maybe it's generating the maps or doing something, so I'll just let it do its thing. Hang on, a Punching Ball. I'll get to you in a minute. Sorry, I gotta wait for this thing to exit out. I don't know if it's saving stuff or doing some things. I don't know. Yeah, this is definitely one of the questions I had for the plugin maker, that whether or not this kind of exit thing is actually saving, or if it's actually. Let me look at Task Manager one more time. ZBrush. It looks like it's still doing stuff. I'll give it maybe another minute. Yeah, I don't know what it's doing. All right, not a problem. We'll just close the program for now. I'll have to find out from the developer what the scoop is with this exit issue I'm having. And I got this plugin a while back. He probably might have made some changes to it. All right, one more time here. Would I like to know? And All right, so I don't need to load my model. I can probably answer your questions just with like the normal view here. And we don't see this. Let me just make this bigger. I think I know what you're asking, Punching Wall. I think what you're asking is this, where if you, I'll divide this a few times. If you have surface noise here, this window right here, is this what you're talking about? Incognito sweet. You know what's really kind of cool is I know what you're talking about. I know about Invader Zim, and I know who Squee is. So, who are you? Do you just like the cartoon, or are you? You're not Yonan Vasquez, are you? That would be awesome if you were watching my stream. But yeah, I know what Squee is, and I know what Invader Zim is. Okay, yeah, so this window, this is kind of a separate app that launches within ZBrush. It's not actually happening in ZBrush. So yeah, no, this is kind of fixed. You can't change it, you can't move it, you can't do anything to it. However, I'll give you a little bit of advice. I mean, you can zoom in. This is kind of like a window like ZBrush's window. So all the same commands work in it. And then you can also go to the noise plug, and that opens up this other window, which is its own thing. And you can't, I don't know if you can resize this one. Yeah, you can resize it horizontally, but yeah, you can resize this window, which is kind of cool. But then if you choose like a texture in here, and you have to click OK, come back into this one, and let's say you want that checkered scale, you can choose the plugin scale to what you want it to be. Choose your strength, and then mix basic noise, and then you can just kind of choose the plugin scale to be smaller or bigger. Let's kind of punch up the strength. So here I'm just basically choosing a smaller, I think, size. And I don't know if this thing has UVs. I think it's just doing a triplanar map. But once you get your noise and you like it, excuse me, you can save it, so you don't have to deal with this. And a lot of times when I work with noise, once I get something I like, I save it. So I don't even, I can just open it up. Like I go in here, I don't even mess with the UI. I just open up my noise and just use it in there. So yeah, it's, I mean, it's an added thing, and they're not really going to modify it. They're probably, I mean, I don't know what their plans are for ZBrush moving forward, but it's just one of the things. Same thing with the color. Like I wish, when you clicked on here, for example, I wish this kind of had more RGB levers or whatever. I mean, if you go into the color menu, you can get some of that. Let me bring that up. Color, where are you? It's alphabetical. There it is. Right. So the RGB values are here. HSV, like I don't know if there is HSV. I don't think there is. Modifiers. I mean, you can kind of get it in this graphic view, but there's no HSV or anything like that. But there is the Z Color plugin, again, which is its own kind of thing. Here it is. And that opens up in its own window. And this has HSV and RGB, and you can also load in color sets and whatnot. And this is really powerful. But again, it's a kind of a plugin, a separate thing to ZBrush. And I think even the surface stuff, the noise, this is a plugin as well. You're basically launching a plugin here that has its own window. Same thing with the Bevel Pro is its own app or whatever. So, I mean, just like Maya, just like Blender, just like any application, when you launch a plugin, it's got its own interface. And unfortunately, the texture, the noise stuff is kind of locked to that screen. Yeah, I know. I have, I know what you mean. I agree with you. But yeah, there's no way to change it. I've asked, and they said, they've told me that that's the case. So I'm still kind of waiting to hear back from Incognito Squee. Because, like, I don't think there's too many people that know who Invader Zim and Squee are. Especially Squee, like, like that's the actual paper cartoon, which is hysterical. and I have both. Uh, and I do have the Art of Invader Zim behind me, so the book, which is kind of even more weird. But I'll bring it in and show you guys just to prove to you that I'm legit. Hang on a sec. All right, here we go. There's the book, right? So yeah, it's pretty cool, and I love his designs, and I thought the cartoon was amazing and super funny, and I hope that they make something with that. It's just such an amazing property that I think it when the cartoons were there, I watched it when I was younger, and it was delightful and really funny. Even though it was kind of aimed more towards younger people, I think if they made a South Park version, or if Yonan Vasquez made a, is it Yonan or Jonan? I don't know for sure how it's pronounced. But if he made a version for adults, kind of like South Park or Family Guy or Simpsons or something like that, I think it'd be pretty funny, especially with new audiences. All right. Well, even though I said I was going to finish early, I'm still 3 minutes in. I'll wait another 2 seconds here for last minute questions, and then I'll sign out. Today's stream brought to you by Earl Grey Tea. Earl Grey Tea. Delicious. All right. So it looks, oh, here we go. My brother Gonzalo is a god using ZBrush, and he commented that he doesn't like to use the texture section. Okay. All right. I think it seems a little bit trolly for me. All right. Okay, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being on live. And again, I'll be on in a couple of weeks. Not next Friday, but the Friday after, continuing on with this model. Thanks for watching, and have a good day or night or whatever time of day it is where you are, and happy